What's up guys, Daxter here, and I wanted to talk about something that's a little bit personal since I actually do game reviews. And that's the cost of a game and how it justifies itself to different people. This topic is actually in light of the new Metal Gear Solid crap that's been going on, how Metal Gear Solid 5 can be beaten in less than 10 minutes. Now granted, the average playtime of this game is 2.5 hours, but people actually beat this game in a lot less than that. Hell, I've seen a video where somebody beat this game in 6 minutes. But should Metal Gear Solid 5 be judged based on its playtime alone? Is it a bad game for that? Should people not waste their $30 because of how long it takes to actually beat this game? I normally put the amount of time it takes to beat a game at the end of my review, and that does filter into whether I recommend the game or not. But there's a lot of different factors that people use to decide whether a game is actually worth the asking price or not. But the gamer is not the only person in play here. Just for a moment, I wanted to talk about the developers and how the price actually filters in for them. Let's take a look at this image real quick here. This is a little bit of learning, guys. Hopefully nobody out there minds learning something today, even though you might not give two craps about this, but yeah, knowledge is power. This image shows an example as to why the price of a game can be as high as it is. $60 is pretty much the most the average person is willing to pay for a video game, and this pretty much shows why the price is like that. There's so many people that actually get a cut out of that $60. That's pretty much why it goes up this high. This also shows exactly why Steam is as popular as it is, because it cuts out a few of these things. In my opinion though, if there's one thing I would love to cut out of this factor completely, it's the publisher. I would love to remove this completely, but it's not up to me. However, traditional indie developers don't actually have to worry about most of the stuff that's on here. And this is because most traditional indie developers don't worry about marketing or consoles. They don't have to worry about these things because they go with a digital distribution system like Steam. So they don't have to worry about a retailer, marketer, or anything like that. Some indie developers, though, actually end up going with a publisher. That's why some indie games you'll see that the price is a little bit above what you think it might be worth. At the same time of all of that, though, Steam actually takes 30%, in case anybody was wondering. So why does this actually matter to you? Some people probably don't care. Some people don't give a damn what the developers have to go through. Most people don't care about the Chinese people sweating over their t-shirts. They just want to make sure they get a good deal. They want the game to justify itself to them, which in my opinion is perfectly fine. I believe you should buy a game simply because of how fun it is, or more specifically, how much fun you will have with it. At the end of the day, the money's in your hands, and what gets you to part with it is up to you. Doesn't matter how you justify it. Some people care about the developer that made the game. Maybe they bought the second game in the franchise because the first game was awesome. Maybe somebody said something good about the game on a forum that they frequently visit. Maybe you watched one of my reviews and I recommended it. Hint, hint. Maybe you played the game at a friend's house who's completely loaded and just buys everything because he can. And let's not forget people's personal situations. Some people don't actually have the money to buy a full $60 game, but they can't not justify a good indie game for like $15. That's actually one reason why the indie game market is thriving right now. Me? I'm simple. I only care about 3 things. 1, a gameplay video. I want to be able to see exactly how the game plays before I actually purchase it. Secondly, I like to look at descriptions of the game's mechanics either on the developer's websites or in some cases the Kickstarter page. And I like to know how long it takes to beat a game. Some people don't care about this, but I do. Some people don't care about how long it takes to beat a game. Some people say don't judge it by how long it takes to beat. I personally say judge away. If the game takes 2 hours to beat, then it might not be worth the asking price. I'm looking at you, Metal Gear Solid. Now, personally, I'm part of the PC master race. You'll probably never catch me playing a full $60 for any game, unless that game is absolutely phenomenal. I don't care about the hype. The game itself has to be good. Let me give you 2 examples here. I watched a gameplay video of Hyper Light Drifter. I was hooked. I didn't need to see any mechanics or nothing. I saw it all right there in the gameplay video. Another example is about Evolve. This one's actually a full $60 title. I plan on paying the full $60 for this guy because Evolve looks amazing. And I didn't see much gameplay of Evolve. I just saw a cinematic trailer and I listened to the devs talk about it. And that's it. That's all I needed. I was hooked. Notice I didn't say anything about story or graphics, multiplayer, even the developer. I don't care too much about most of those because these things don't matter when you're generally looking at a game. Sure, they help out, but when you're generally speaking, I don't care about these things. All I care about is how much I will enjoy the experience. But guess what? Different people enjoy different experiences, and what you are looking for definitely justifies what parts you with your money. Maybe you're looking for a game that's heavy on story, or at least good storytelling. A perfect example of this is The Last of Us. That game was shunned by so many people because of the gameplay. Hell, some people hated the story in general, said it was too predictable. But no one can argue that the game's storytelling is phenomenal, and that alone to me justifies that purchase. Even though I don't care about the story as a whole, the storytelling was perfect. Enough so that I would recommend this game even though the gameplay isn't that good. But maybe you don't care about story. Maybe you're the kind of person that loves pretty pixels. To me, that's superficial as hell, but it's justifiable to some people. On the flip side of that though, open world games like Assassin's Creed have blown me away with just how beautiful the game is sometimes. But this isn't just pretty pixels though, this is a work of goddamn art. Although this isn't a reason to buy the game in my opinion, it is a pretty big bonus. And now that I've actually mentioned Assassin's Creed, I wonder how many people are going to buy Watch Dogs simply because it's made by Ubisoft. In this case, the developer will definitely mean a lot to the person that buys that game. The developer to me is something that really doesn't make much of a difference. Case in point, Hyper Light Drifter. The developers of this game is Heart Machine. I've never heard of these guys. They probably never existed before this game. But at the same time, I'm going to buy this game regardless of that. I personally am not hyped up about Watch Dogs, but there's a lot of people out there that are hyped up to hell, and they're expecting the same kind of awesomeness that they got from Assassin's Creed in Watch Dogs since it's made by the same developer. Me, on the other hand, I actually don't give a crap. I like the idea of Watch Dogs, but the scenes where everything just turns into a gunfight really turns me off. This is where gameplay, to me, comes in, and this is exactly why it's so important that the game has to justify itself to each individual person. Let's go back to Metal Gear Solid 5 here for a second, because other than the playtime, this game justifies itself in many different ways. If you look at these 10-minute videos where people beat this game, I'll definitely say watching these videos actually makes you want to play the game. Even though it can be beaten in such a relatively short amount of time, doesn't make it any less fun. The game runs smooth, the movement is responsive, and the guns feel solid. Not to mention the game, graphics-wise, looks fantastic. These are the kinds of things you would expect from a AAA game, although for whatever reason they decided to push this one out with just one level. And that will definitely affect how people will see this game. The fact that it'll only take 2 hours to beat will probably solidify this game as a rental, or something you borrow from a friend. Gameplay time is definitely important. It is the reason why sites like this one exist, to show you exactly how long it'll take you to beat a game to help you justify a purchase. Just to get a bit of a benchmark here in terms of how long it takes to beat the game versus justification of price, let's compare it to movie tickets. Now, the average movie ticket right now, if you were to see a movie on opening night, is about $12. The average movie is about 2 hours. So let's say you take a $60 game, that'll net you about 5 movies at 2 hours each, which will net you about 10 hours of entertainment. If you take that and slap that logic directly to a video game of $60 price, then you would hope to get at least 10 hours of entertainment from it. Of course, this is not filtering if you're the kind of person that likes to have a hot dog or popcorn while you're watching a movie. That $12 can easily become $20. These are one of the factors that actually makes movies a bad comparison to video games, but we're just using it as a benchmark just to get something to go off of. Now let's go back to Metal Gear Solid, shall we? Metal Gear Solid, on average, will take a player 2.5 hours to beat, and that game costs $30. $30 is the equivalent to 2 movies on opening night. 2 movies, obviously, is 4 hours. Metal Gear Solid is falling short here. And that is a massive disappointment. Once again, this is just a factual, logical statement as to why everybody is upset about this game. But once again, movies are a bad comparison, because in a movie, everybody watches the movie at the same rate. If the movie is 2 hours long, you have 2 hours of entertainment. In a video game, it is interactive, and people move at their own pace. So somebody can beat a game in an hour, another person will take 2. It depends on the person. That's why movies are actually a bad way to compare this, but at the same time, it gives us a good benchmark. Another reason as to why movies are a bad comparison: indie games. Indie games tend to give you a fair amount of playtime, depending on how well the indie game is done. Let's take a good example here of Terraria, or Terraria, depending on how you want to pronounce it. That game, as we speak, is $10. When it first came out, it was $15. As of right now, I have sunk almost 300 hours into Terraria. That's the equivalent of watching 150 movies at 2 hours each. Would I say that the $15 for Terraria is worth it? Hell yes. Judging based on just how long you can spend playing a game, this will definitely be worth the money. Now, after every single thing you heard me say within the last 10 minutes, you would probably guess that I would say Metal Gear Solid 5 is not worth the purchase, and you'd actually be wrong. Metal Gear Solid can be beaten in 6 minutes, yes, but that's by somebody that knows exactly what they're doing and have actually spent the time to beat the game properly. If you're a completionist, you'd probably easily get the 4 hours that the movie benchmark states that a $30 game should net you. Will you have a blast doing it even though if you're not a completionist? I would say you would. If you're a huge fan of Metal Gear and the Metal Gear series, yes, this game is definitely worth $30. This is probably the only Metal Gear game you can get on launch day for $30 and have a full, complete Metal Gear experience. Yes, it won't be as long as most other Metal Gears, but you will enjoy yourself nonetheless. So does playtime by itself give you a reason to hate a game? I would say no. I would say play the game for yourself and justify the purchase your own way. If you don't want to spend the $30, rent it. I hear you can rent a game for a weekend through Redbox. There you go. Nice way to save yourself some money and enjoy the Metal Gear experience. And I'm done, guys. Hopefully I enlightened you guys in some way, shape, or form. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. I love to read your opinions. Please let me know. And if you guys liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and check out my channel for more awesome content. And I hope you guys have a good one. Peace!